Do you want the inside scoop on the job market? Over the past year, I've interviewed 1,311 job seekers across the top 100 tech who are sitting in the manager to that SVP layer. And today, I'm going to share with you some of my findings to fast track your job search. If you haven't subscribed yet, then hit the bell and subscribe so that you're notified every time that I release a video just like this one. My name is Stoltzfus. I'm the founder of the Job Hackers Network. I help leaders stand out in this job market by executing a strategic job search, by building up their brand, and getting directly to the table with hiring leaders on a consistent basis. Let's dive into my top findings from these direct conversations with job seekers. But there has been one major theme from these conversations. What worked before is not working today. Number one, getting referred into the job is no longer something that differentiates you and separates you from the crowd. Getting referred is the new application baseline. On a daily basis, as I'm talking to job seekers, they're telling me about the last month, 2 months where they've been referred into. They've been doing the work to find an application, to find a role. It's a fit. And then they go into their network and they find people that are at that company. They get referred in behind the scenes at the company, and they're still getting ghosted. A couple of years ago, that would not have happened. A couple of years ago, that would have elevated you above the crowd. It would have been something that distinguished you, and you would have at least gotten some form of callback, some form of notification. Sometimes that's actually, and in the past, has been built into the process. If we have a direct referral, we will contact them. That is no longer the case, folks. If you have that referral, that's now kind of like the pay to play. 2 of my clients heard directly from Qualcomm that if they didn't have an internal referral, they shouldn't even apply. Now, when a company is willing to come out and say, hey, you got to do this, this is our new baseline, that means that that's what they've been doing by practice behind the scenes for the last 3 or 4 years. They're just no longer embarrassed about it. And so you're having some of those top 100 tech companies come right out and say, if you don't have a referral, don't even try. This has been a consistent theme across these interviews with individuals because it's something that really stands out to them. They would think, hey, if I get this, I'm gonna get contacted. That's the main game I need to play. But the game has changed. The game has elevated. It's elevated into networking, and we're gonna talk about that more as we move through these themes. A really big theme that I see in these conversations, and this is number 2, is that an individual is gonna take a step down in their career. Well, I'm here to tell you, taking a step down in your career and going for what you would call the easy win, that's a recipe for a very long job search. Let's look into why. First reason, you're going to be classified as overqualified. If you're showing up and the branding collateral that you've put forward is towards a higher level role. As an example, I was talking to an individual whose 2 roles ago was a VP, last role was as an SVP title. But the individual is going after an engineering manager role and consistently being told, I'm sorry, you're overqualified. So now he's trying to catch up and prove to somebody, no, this is what I really want. But here's the problem. By the nature of the branding, by the nature of what the person has done before, they're creating risk. And when you create risk, when you create questions, unnecessary questions, you're not going to get hired. Not in this job market, not when it's plentiful with other candidates. The employers are looking for a perfect fit. They're looking for, as my clients have said before, a pink unicorn with a purple tail and a polka dot horn. When a year ago they were looking for a unicorn, and 2 years ago or 3 years ago they were looking for a dadgum horse. They're being very, very specific. And so if you're going out there and you're watering things down, one I see very frequently is a director of engineering saying, no, I'm okay being a principal architect. Yeah, but is that the work you love? Is that the work that you can get behind and say, this is my strength? Because the other candidates that you're going against are going to be doing that. That's going to be their cup of tea, what they're best at in their strengths lane. And here you are watering things down saying, I would be okay with that. And I'm sorry, you're not going to win that way. The way that you win is by going after the role that you most want, the role that plays to your strengths, the activities that fuel and engage you and light you up. If you need help discovering those things, you can go to tmbc.com, the Marcus Buckingham Company, and you can take the Standout Report to help you identify your strengths-based roles. I'm certified with TMBC to help you discover those strengths, but just start off with the free assessment, because there you can start to key into that real work that is going to light you up. And when you get that here, then you can start to say that here, right? When you come to terms with that work that is going to be in your lane. And so going after the role that you really, really want, that's where you're going to sell yourself the most effectively. That's the role that you can get behind. That's the role that the story from the receiver's end is going to be understandable. When you water it down and you go for the easy win, you're going to be in for the long haul. One of the critical components to selling yourself is your value proposition. If you need help crafting your value proposition, then I've got a template to the value proposition down below in the description. And on that document with the template, there's also going to be real-world examples from some of my clients anonymously provided there so that you can see how individuals are successfully putting themselves out there to market and saying, this is who I am, this is where I'm at my best, these are my strengths, and this is how I bring that to you. This is how I deliver my impact. Go down to the description and grab that template, because that's your North Star. As you're writing out your resume, you need that value proposition because it's going to be what makes you understandable. And it's going to be what ties all of your branding collateral together. If this video is helping you, then hit that like button down below. Tell that YouTube algorithm that this is good content and this is going to help others. And then answer this question in the comments. What has been your number one finding from your job search so far? Comment down below. The number 3 thing that I've learned over the last year in talking to these folks is that there is really only one metric that matters in your job search. That one metric that matters is how many hiring managers have you talked to? It's been so many individuals where I'm talking to them about the last 3 months of their job search, and they're talking to me about activity. Well, Ryan, I got to this company through this I've sent out 1,000 applications, I've talked to 33 recruiters, and then I get to the point. Yes, that's great. Interesting. How many hiring managers have you talked to? 2, or 1, or 0, whatever that number is. And you can see the deflation that happens because they know that's where they need to get to. And that is the most elusive component of the job search process. But Ryan, how do I get to those people who are making the decisions? Right? I got to go in the front door. I got to have an amazing application. I got to pound through that recruiter. No, you don't. No, you don't. That's not how to get to them. Why? Because the marketplace is flooded. We have a large number of applicants, but we have a much larger by proportion number of applications. Okay, well, what's going on with that? Let's say we have 100,000 applicants, but now they have the ability to use ChatGPT and the GPTs that have been created to smash out. They're looking at job descriptions and saying, hey, match these things up. Give me a resume that matches up to these things. And they're just smashing out cover letters and smashing out applications. And so what one applicant was able to apply to in an hour, now they're applying to 10 jobs in an hour. And so you have more by volume number of applicants on an individual job rec. So recruiters are sitting back saying, what do I do with all of this? But here's the deal. If you want to get to hiring manager conversations, it happens in one way. Efficiently, it happens in one way. By saying, who are those individuals at my target companies, drilling in on them and sending a networking message before a job has even opened. And that's what the Job Hackers Method, my program, is all about. Helping you tell your story, build up who you are, package that, brand that, and then go to hiring managers and get consistent conversations. If you want to talk to me about that, look down in the description below, get on my calendar for a one-on-one job search strategy call. And in that call, we'll talk about a customized plan for you to be able to get to hiring managers consistently. That is the one metric that matters. And you can get to 5, 10 hiring managers per week. Not per 3 months, not per 1 year, per week. if you have a plan that is drilled in, proven, vetted, and that's the Job Hackers method.
Are you ready to start or optimize your job search process? Do you feel stuck and need help connecting the dots? Join this free web class where you'll learn the step-by-step formula to control your career progression. We've helped hundreds of experienced engineering and operations leaders just like you to build their brand and grow their impact. Register for this exclusive training today to step into the driver's seat of your career.
Let's go into number 4. The fourth component from the findings is when you're getting close and you think that you're close and you think that something is going to land in a job offer, that's the time to double down on the top of the funnel. What is the top of the funnel? This job search process is a marketing process. And so think about it like a marketing process, which involves a funnel. And we're putting things in higher level conversations at the top of the funnel. That's where we want to stack in hiring manager conversations. And then as we have those meetings, as we have those conversations, things are going to start to move their way down. And at the very bottom, we have offers. As we get down there and you think that something is going to land, that's the time that usually job seekers will step back and they'll start to take their time off. They'll start to only focus on that one thing. Well, here's the deal. You can't write that job offer. In this job search, you need to control the controllable. That's one of the mantras for the Job Hackers method in our program. Control the controllable. And when you sit back and you rely upon that one job offer to come through, you've given away your control. But when you say, yes, that's probably going to come through and I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen, increase the probability, sell, connect, close, but also stuff the top of the pipeline with new conversations. Because we've got to be, in 2 weeks, here's what happens. If you don't stuff the top of the pipeline, this job falls through. You now go through a 2-week silence where you're not having conversations with anybody, where nothing is moving forward because you're starting over. This is what creates the dips and valleys, the peaks and the valleys in a typical job search process. But your job search process does not have to be like that. It can be steady. And if you're thinking about and improving along the way, it can be ever inclining. And that's really what we design with Clean Process, is that steady improving process along the way. So when you're comfortable, I'm sorry, but you need to shake yourself and get uncomfortable and continue to stuff the top of the pipeline with initial conversations. All right, so 2 resources that I've been offering up for you today. If you're struggling with your strategic job search, you've got the value proposition templates that you can grab the link to in the description. You've got a link to my calendar down below in the description as well. And again, I'd love to talk to you if you want to get really strategic about a networking-based, hiring manager-directed job search. So hop on my calendar if that's the case. Now be sure to check out one of these 2 videos as you continue to get really strategic about your job search. And I'll see you in the next one.